So here's our topic number 2, dealing with proteins. And I am your host for this, and my name is Matt Constantino. I'm an exercise physiologist and college professor. So here is our topic that we're going to continue on with. So here's our topic number 2, dealing with proteins. And I am your host for this, and my name is Matt Constantino. I'm an exercise physiologist. Okay, let's try this again. So this is week 2, talking about proteins, and I am your host here, Matt Constantino, exercise physiologist and college professor. Just to reiterate and so forth from the first one, that one, I am not a registered dietitian. I am not a physical therapist or anything like that. I specialize in post-rehab physical conditioning, and this is a basic nutrition opening up to sports nutrition. So if you want to get greater detail and stuff like that, definitely do find a registered dietitian, sports dietitian, that can help really tweak things up and kind of go from there. But the reason why I'm going over all of this is because one of the biggest issues for people is the nutrition side of how do we get into, maximize what we're doing in the gym. So here we go. Okay. So the first week we talked about some overall guidelines and whatnot. So you definitely want to make sure that you're writing stuff down to be able to track what you're doing, understand and learn how to read food labels and the ingredients, and to rehash all of this again, just go back to the first week's presentation there as well. 5-6 small meals per day, protein at every meal. Start with a cleanse to increase your fiber and so forth. So we talked about the importance of a cleanse, helps clean out the system, and helps you lose weight quicker, and just really gets the junk out of the intestine that's been sitting there for a long period of time. So what is protein? I get this a lot. People, I think, really misunderstand the importance of protein. They're like, oh, it's just meat. It's just going to help you get stronger and so forth. But yes, it is one of the biggest benefits is for building and repairing body tissue, not just, muscle and stuff, but it helps regulate your metabolism, helps protect you against diseases. And it's not usually a major fuel source. The body does not want to use protein as a fuel. Protein is supposed to be your repair. And so your main fuel source, in all honesty, is carbohydrates and fat. Okay? So the basic structure of the amino acids of protein is the amino acids. So protein is a big chain. It gets broken down as enzymes are released to be able to get utilized and uptaken by the body. Also, protein helps make the enzymes, hormones, and other body chemicals, and it is, again, here an important building block of bones, muscles, cartilage, skin, and blood. All right, so there's a lot of benefits to protein, and when you are not getting enough protein in, you're going to open yourself up to other disease processes. You're not going to feel as healthy. You're going to feel run down. You're not going to repair as quickly. and so forth. So I put this little image here of Legos just kind of as a tongue-in-cheek, good humor of, I use this image of the Legos to help people get a better understanding and kind of a little visual of, and it's a very crude visual of amino acids and kind of what they do. They're different sizes, different functions and stuff, but you put them all together to make a complete protein for the body to be able to better repair, right? So the body needs a total of 20 amino acids, and 9 of them are essential. That means they must come from the food. The body does not make them. So below is a list of the of the essential amino acids, and I'm not going to go into great detail here about where to be able to get those foods or these amino acids from, but basically any meat source, and we'll talk about some of the different foods, but I'm not going to go into great detail about how much is in certain foods and this and that. Okay, so complete proteins have all 20 amino acids, and great sources of those proteins are fish, are meat, dairy products, milk, yogurt, whey, eggs, quinoa, buckwheat, hemp, chia seeds, and other things. So basically animal products, protein shakes, and bars, if they're of good quality. You don't want to just put anything into your body. And always look at the ingredient side of things too, just to make sure that the company is not just saying, hey, this is a proprietary blend of X amount of milligrams, and it give you like 3,000 milligrams of all the different ingredients that are in there. It's got to be spelled out exactly how many milligrams of each is in here and what are all the different ingredients. So a good company is not going to hide anything. All right. BCAAs are branched chain amino acids, and typically those are the essential amino acids that you may be lacking from certain foods that you eat. All right, so if you're a vegetarian or if you're an active person that you need to get some extra protein in, but the branched chain amino acids are going to help that, and they're not going to have a lot of calories associated with that. So they're just the amino acids themselves, and they're going to help usually fill in the gap. And that's what you have to be focusing on when it comes to any type of supplementation. Is it's just that it's a gap filler. Okay, incomplete proteins typically are vegetable sources, so the nuts, the legumes, the grains, and different vegetables. And so if you're a vegetarian or you're really trying to reduce some of your meat intake, you're going to need to eat a wide variety of nuts, seeds, legumes, grains, and vegetables, which you should be eating anyways. And same thing with our meat products. You should be eating a wide variety of them, and we'll get into that here a little bit. So how do you make an incomplete protein complete protein? By combining them. All right, so rice and beans, spinach salad with almonds, hummus, and whole grain pita, whole grain noodles with peanut butter or with peanut sauce, not peanut butter sauce, sorry, I love my peanut butter, but with peanut sauce and so forth. So it's just finding different ways of combining your foods to make sure that you're getting your complete proteins and stuff. All right. So again, on your food label, you want to be looking at here, your proteins and how they are related to your carbohydrates and so forth. So here are some 4 simple guidelines for protein, and there are ways of being able to get into greater detail and more specificity for each individual person, but this is a good starting point right here. If you don't have the resources to get your percent body fat done in a bod pod or a DEXA scanner, which I do recommend that you do try to do that. It's going to give you a better understanding of where your body fat is, how much you really have, and also if you don't have the means to be able to do to figure out what your basal metabolic rate is through respiration testing and so forth. But these are great tools to be able to use. So how often should you consume, how much you should consume, what foods to eat, what protein supplements, and so forth. first off, you need to know that protein is a macronutrient, meaning that you need to have a lot of it every day. All right, micronutrients, those are our vitamins and minerals, vitamin A, vitamin C's, D's, and K's, and so forth. Um, so when it comes to protein, you need to have it at every meal, every snack, 5 to 6 times a day. And protein, on average, around 180 to 190 grams per day. For women, about 80 to 130. And again, it can go up and down based on what your goals are. So you got to write down your goals. They got to be specific, measurable, and so forth. Don't just say, oh, I want to lose weight, or oh, I want to get big and strong. Okay, that's like saying, oh, I want to breathe and stuff like that. It's just silly. It needs to be measurable. Okay. So I put this on here, and I think this is something that is really overlooked and missed by a lot of trainers and stuff, because when we talk about needing the protein and needing say 20 to 30 grams per meal, okay, well what does that mean? All right, so how many grams? I'll ask most people, okay, what do you have for breakfast? Oh, I have 1 or 2 eggs. And then they'll have some milk and toast. Okay, 1 egg and milk, that's 14 grams of protein. You're almost halfway there, but not quite. So you're falling short. So because when we get down into talking about meat and stuff like that, it's not in grams. It's always in ounces. When we go to the restaurant, everything is in ounces. So how do we know if we're getting enough protein per meal, or are we getting too much protein per sitting? Okay. So when it comes to our seeds and nuts, pumpkin seeds tend to be king here. A quarter cup is 19 grams of protein, and I'm a big fan of pumpkin seeds. Some people don't like them, but they're great for you. Okay, certain yogurts too. Now, when it comes to yogurts here, you really want to be watching out for how many carbohydrates are in that too, because some of the very popular yogurts, yeah, they may have 10 to 15 to 20 grams of protein, but they've got at least double carbohydrates with that. And also, when you're doing your yogurt, get the plain or vanilla kind that doesn't have the fruit in it, and then add your fresh fruit to it. It's going to keep down the sugar content and stuff. And usually those yogurts have got way higher amounts of protein and carbohydrates in them as well. Here's another one here. So we're talking about the like hamburger patty. So a 4-ounce piece of hamburger is about 28 grams of protein. Flank steak, 3 ounces, about 22 grams of protein. Tenderloin, 3 ounces of 22 grams of protein. So if you can start, you go to a restaurant, they got about 6, 12, 20 ounces of meat there, and that's a lot of extra protein that is going into that. So, if you're a bigger guy, and most guys should be having probably about 2 palm sizes worth of a serving of meat, so that's going to be roughly about 6 to 8 ounces of meat, depending on the individual, kind of going from there. And then we got chicken breast. Chicken's pretty, very popular with people. So a 3-ounce piece of chicken is about 30 grams of protein. All right. And down here, pork chop, 3-ounce piece of pork chop is 22 grams of protein. So everything has got a little bit different, values and stuff. Okay. Bacon, everyone loves bacon. 1 slice of bacon is 3 grams of protein. A lot of fat with it too, but, not going to split hairs here. So, continuing on, how much protein to consume. A nice rule of thumb is 1 gram per pound of lean body tissue or mass. So if you do a percent body fat with a bod pod or a DEXA scan, you're going to get that really precise number. But if you're going to do a handheld body fat analyzer, the number is going to be a little rougher per se. It's not going to be 100% accurate, but it's going to give you a good ballpark to be at. All right. So you take your body weight and minus it by that percent body fat, it's going to give you your lean muscle mass. So if you weigh 260 pounds, you have a percent body fat of 27%, you're going to have about 60 to 70 we'll say 77 pounds of body fat. So you're going to have around 200, we'll say round it up to about 210 pounds of lean tissue. So that's about 210 grams of protein. And you just kind of break it down from there. And now what you do is you take that grams of protein, now you divide it by the 5 or 6 small meals per day. Fit this into your life, right? If you are working 12-hour days and you don't got time to be able to eat all that much, plan ahead for things. Make small, frequent snacks and stuff too. So, what foods? I use this analogy all the time here. Got this from a dietitian that I had taken a class from, and basically this sums it up the best. The less legs, the better. When you're picking your proteins, you want to have less legs, the better, more frequently throughout your the meals of the week that you're doing. So it's saying, more fish than chicken, more chicken than beef. And then if you are a hunter, you want to, you can eat your venison, your wild turkey, and all of that stuff because it's going to be leaner. And, if you can find ones that are cage-free, they forage for their own food, they're free-range animals and stuff like that, those are going to be better for you. They're going to be leaner. They're not going to have as many hormones and so forth too. Now, the thing that you also want to be looking at, and I found this out recently too, was that you got to be careful of like chicken. And my oldest daughter actually sent me this article, and because we were wondering why is this chicken kind of so tough and grainy and well, what happens is that even if a company says that hey, there's no antibiotics with it, but if they are forcing the chickens and the animals to grow faster than is natural, they're going to get these little white striations in the meat, and that tends to give the meat that really kind of tough and chewy feel to it when after it's cooked and stuff like that. So really be on the lookout for that, and even some of those the companies that are out there now that are trying to do more holistic and organic meats and stuff like that, still look for that, because there's a whole other issue. So other sources here, we got eggs, we got nuts. Certain vegetables and stuff like that too are going to have it. Like spinach is a great source of protein. About half of its calories come from protein. It's also got the roughage that goes along with it too. And now the last part here is protein supplementation. Excellent source, but everything in moderation. Okay, meal replacement shakes, protein drinks, protein bars, and stuff like that should be used as gap fillers, and you really want to be focusing on and using stuff that is a hydrolyzed or a pre-digested protein, in that it's going to make you feel less bloated, less gassy. It's going to break down a lot quicker and get absorbed into the body that much faster. And this is where protein supplementation comes into play, because on average the body can only really break down and utilize about 25 to 35 grams of protein, again, depending on the person and so forth. So we're talking about eating meat. But now when you take a protein supplement, branched chain amino acids, hydrolyzed protein drinks, meal replacements that are hydrolyzed, your body's going to be able to absorb more. Okay? So just keep that in mind, and I use this image here just to, again, kind of show you as protein is being unraveled. It's linked together. It's not this simplistic by any stretch of the imagination, but hopefully this is going to give you a great overview and understanding of proteins, their importance, how to be able to know if you're getting enough, especially when you go out to dinner and if you're getting a sub or anything like that. So hopefully this is very helpful for you. And oh yeah, branched chain amino acids. If you got a good one, um, one serving is going to be about half a chicken breast, so it's usually about 3 capsules, or the liquid servings and so forth. So it's another way of being able to get some extra protein that is your essential amino acids that is going to help for recovery and repair. So I typically will use amino acids before I work out and then also before going to bed, uh, because the amino acids are going to help preserve the muscle and encourage the body to utilize its fat stores as its energy, but also before going to bed, it's going to help give you the tools that your body needs to further recover and repair the tissue and the damage that you did in the gym. Remember, anything in the gym is you're just breaking up and tearing down. Anything, the way that your body is going to look, happens in the kitchen from the meals and everything that you put into your body. Okay?